Good morning, this is Robin Bieber on the Crude Spread Talk on the 22nd of May at 7:50 in the morning London time. And the first chart we're going to look at here will be July Aug TI. And all the structure is looking slightly susceptible to a wobble. Much like the flat price, it's moving to the 5 and maybe below the 8. The flat price is below the 5 and holding the 8. The structure is testing the 5. And here we have July Aug TI. It's testing its minus 55-day support. It's trading at that level, and were it to fail there, then I would expect it to move down to around minus 62, the 8-day moving average. Trouble only really begins on a moving close below the 8-day. It's done everything it pretty much should have done up to the area between minus 57 and minus 31, and it's struggling to punch higher, but it would maintain the momentum higher by holding the 5-day moving average at minus 50. Holding the 8-day merely means the uptrend is intact. The real test is at the 8-day. And if we look at the 60-minute chart on this, we can see that it's suggesting a little bit of too much too soon and that we should actually potentially recover a little bit during the course of the morning. Now, if we move on to Aug SEP, it's at the 5-day at minus 51. It's actually printing minus 50. Only a move below there would suggest a dip down to minus 62, the 8-day. And the stochastic is getting a little bit heavy and high, but it's still positive. So use the 5-day on both the July Aug and the Aug SEP as a barometer, and as to what the next leg is. It going to be down to the 8-day where the uptrend is tested, or is it going to be up and further strength? And watch very carefully the action at the 5-day. And if we look, for example, at the Aug SEP, the 60-minute, the stochastic here is suggesting upside for the course of the morning. Now, if we look at some back-end structure on TI, the June deck, it's holding pretty well, minus 152 printing, minus 157 is the 5-day moving average, whilst the 5-day at minus 157 holds, no downside. Were that to break, then this negative stochastic would come into play and we'd be under pressure to slide 30 cents or so to the 8-day moving average at minus 185. So you watch the pivotal 5-day at minus 57 very carefully. And if we look over on the left here, the 60-minute chart is suggesting a little bit too much too soon overnight on the downside, and that we should pick up this morning. The Decred deck on TI is holding the 5-day at minus 281. This is critical support. A move below there would suggest a 40-cent dip to minus 324, the 8-day. Whilst we hold the 5-day, upside is still intact. And if we look at the 60-minute chart over here on the left, it's suggesting that we've seen enough in the more early morning weakness and we should try and recover during the London morning. Now, moving over to Brent structure, the July Aug is slightly in trouble. It's printing minus 40, minus 39 is the 8-day moving average. The 8-day moving average must hold, 1 cent makes no difference, must hold, or we're heading lower to minus 61. It's finding difficulty at the 8, 5 and 8s, and only a move and close back over minus 31, the 5-day moving average, would suggest more immediate upside. The stochastic is negative, which is a worry, but the 60-minute stochastic is suggesting a little bit too much too soon, and look at this bullish divergence here. So I would not be at all surprised to see the July Aug firm during the course of the morning. Aug SEP at the 5 at minus 45, holding the 8 at minus 51. No downside while minus 51 holds. Got a negative stochastic suggesting some trouble up here, particularly around minus 38. But whilst the 8 holds, that negativity is on hold. And if we look at the 60-minute chart on the Aug SEP, it's suggesting too much too soon on the downside here on the overnight dip, and there's also a hint of bullish divergence. So I wouldn't be surprised to see July Aug and Aug SEP during the course of the morning firm. But they need to do more by getting over the 5-day to look respectable again. They are, regardless of what happens in the next 2 or 3 hours, they're looking a little bit pressured. Now, to move to the back end, the deck June is fine whilst minus 157 holds. It's printing minus 152. Minus 157 is the 5-day moving average. Whilst that holds no downside, were that to fail, then it's got a 30-cent dip to the 8-day moving average in store for it. It only starts to turn very bearish on moving below 185. Moving below the 5-day merely says there's more of a correction lower due. The 60-minute chart over on the left is suggesting that the early overnight move lower is going to be recovered from, and we should see higher numbers in the London morning. Decred deck Whilst it holds minus 281, this red line, the 5-day moving average, it's okay, but looking like it's struggling at the top here. But the 5-day is the barometer. Below there, and it's got a 40-cent dip down to the 8-day at minus 325. So the 5-day around minus 281 is very important. The 60-minute chart hasn't turned positive on the stochastic yet, but it's threatening to do so. It's going to be a difficult morning for the red deck, particularly if it puts this minus 281 under pressure. So watch that very carefully. That's all for today, folks. Good luck, good trading, and bon appetit.